I hope you have written the question. The aunt in the prose Lumber Room by Saki belongs to a very conventional, narrow-minded generation, whereas Nicholas is very imaginative and thoughtful. So what you have to do is support this idea referring to the prose passage. So I chose this one because grade 10 students are also there. Right, first, what should we do? So first we should find the keywords. So the aunt in the prose Room by Saki belongs to a very conventional, narrow-minded generation. So what generation? The aunt. Aunt belongs to a very conventional, narrow-minded generation. Right, and this Nicholas. So Nicholas belongs to this imaginative and thoughtful brain. So this is what you have to discuss in your answer. So I'm going to clear these all drawings. Hope you have written the question. So at the exam, or you can use a separate paper to note down these keywords. So this is what we are going to discuss. So we are going to discuss the aunt and Nicholas separately. We call these comparing and contrasting. Here we have to compare these two people. So we compare these two people under the light, the generations. So the aunts belong to this conventional and narrow-minded generation. So Nicholas, being a child, he belongs to this imaginative and thoughtful generation. So the aunt belongs to the adults generation, and Nicholas belongs to just the younger generation. That means the children. So while we are discussing, you can note down things. I'll give you some time to write, and you can note down important things. So no need to note down this thing. You can note down next slide, right? Okay, we are moving to next one. So our next task, we are going to discuss the aunt as a conventional person. So if you want, you can note down these things. If you have any questions, you can send me through the chat box, right? Okay, look at the first point. Older, wiser, and better people. So I have taken this from the original text. That's why I have used this quotation now. So we call this quotation as embedded quotations. So when you write answers, you can use these embedded quotations. So older and wiser and better people. That means these elders, right? The generation of aunt. So they think that there cannot be a coincidence like frog falling into the bread and milk. So these elders don't believe about these kind of things. So they would not believe that a child is there enough to challenge them. So that's called conventional thinking. Right? They don't think these children are rebellious. Right? Students are under their food. So because of that, they don't believe that child is not there enough to challenge them. So you can, if you have any different perspectives, yes, you can present them. That's okay. So these are my ideas. My ideas are not very important, but you can get a guideline to write the answer. So that's what we are doing through this discussion. Right, okay. Hope you are noting down important things. So our second point, the aunt as a conventional person. So no need to write each and everything. Note down important things. Normally the first line is the key point. The other one is the analyzing part. So the aunt thinking that Nicholas would enter the gooseberry garden. So aunt thinks, the conventional aunt thinks is Nicholas would enter the gooseberry garden after she has given the punishment. So as a conventional woman of few ideas, so she is introduced as a woman of few ideas. So she thinks that this stubborn boy, Nicholas, he would try to enter the garden behind her back. So that's what normally a stubborn child does, right? So they like to they like to break the rules, right? Whenever an elder punishes or tells not to do something, right? They tend to do that. So that is the traditional way of thinking, right? So she thinks that this stubborn boy would try to enter the gooseberry garden behind her back. So what she has missed, so she has not suspected that Nicholas has another smart plan under his sleeve. So Nicholas has a very, he has a plan, mastermind plan, so under his sleeves. So through this, Sakime is suggesting that the children are unpredictable and smarter than this older generation. So what the elders should do then? So they should have to be updated, right? Okay, let's we go to the next point. Some parts are hidden. Okay, remove this video. Right, okay. So the next one, believing in punishment. So this is a common practice in Sri Lankan culture also, right? Believing in punishment to correct children. So by punishing children, elders hurt the ego of children. So ego means the personality, like their the personal person, right? The ego of children, making them psychologically crippled. So this traditional way of punishment, right? It should have it should have a negative effect on this Nicholas. That might be the sole reason for him to be stubborn. Okay, we are going to the next slide. So here we discuss the aunt as a narrow-minded person. What does it mean of narrow-minded? That means not broader thinking, right? Not intelligent thinking. It means that her mindset is very small. So we can give these examples. So these are the examples, right? When you write the answer, you can use these examples. And don't forget, you have to support these things by using a quotation also. Because I'm not giving you the quotations. You can find the quotation from the text and provide quotations. Then your answer will be very complete. Right, okay. The art inventing ceremonious things and debarring the children from being a part of it. So this is a narrow-minded move, right? So the purpose of this is to punish the child for trying to prove that the elders are wrong. So this kind of punishments are cruel and might harm the feeling of the child, so making him more stubborn and unruly. We have discussed this earlier. But what has happened? Whenever a child falls from the grace, that means whenever a child does something not according to the plan, that means something stubborn, something mischievous, so something that hurt the elders' ideas, right? So there are a set of rules in the society. This is how you should behave. This is This is how you should not behave. So if you break that conduct, so you are given a punishment. Right here, what is the normal setting? The children should obey the elders, and they should not challenge their ideas. So what Nicholas does, he has put a frog into his all some bread and butter and challenges elders. So you say there cannot be a frog in our food. But here Well, we have a test frog. So for that rebellious behavior is given a punishment. So the nature of this punishment is the thing, right? This aunt is inventing ceremonious things, and what she does, she's she takes away that ceremonious thing. She takes away that beautiful thing from the child. So that hurts. That is a cruel punishment to take something important from the child. For example, if child does a mischievous thing, if the elder take her favorite toy out of her, they destroy the favorite toy, that is cruel. So that might harm the feeling of the child. You can analyze those things when you write the answer. So that is a narrow-minded move, right, by the older generation, by the conventional generation. So this is the other thing. Is normally some people do this, keeping beautiful and artistic things hidden in the lumber room from the eyes of children. So in our culture, we can see some parents are showcasing the toys and beautiful everything in a cabinet like thing. So they are not given to the children. But they are to be as an artifact or something decorative. So what this aunt has done, she has locked up certain beautiful things inside of the lumber. So the children cannot touch them. They can't eat them. They can't see them. Okay, there's another one. If you have any questions, you can ask, right? Always, right? Line that there would be strawberry jam for tea to give a psychological bribe to Nicholas. Right here, underneath her mind, she has no such plan, but that is a lie, right? So lying, there would be strawberry jam for tea to give a psychological bribe to Nicholas. So elders do this, right? Elders tell lies, small lies, whatever it is. If it is small or big, lies are lies, right? So elders lying for their own benefits is a narrow-minded thing. So as children follow the footstep of the elders, so aunt here lying for her benefits and breaking her own words for her uh, own benefit is a narrow-minded thing. So this aunt represents this elder generation. So you always have to go to that point, right? The aunt is a representative character of that society. So this aunt is not actually the aunt. So she is an elder. She is a representative character in that society. So this is her selfishness, right? Thinking only about what she wants. So she does not care of her children's pain. She only focuses on the punishment given to Nicholas and the pain she would create. So as a boomerang, her actions backfire. So what has happened when she has invented a picnic to Jack Burrow's hand? What has happened in the boy is crying because his boots are tight and the girl has hit her leg or something and she's howling. So and they are all in pain, right? The sole purpose of her punishment to get some tears from the part of Nicholas, but that doesn't happen. And at the end also this expedition was also unsuccessful. So let's move to our hero. Yes. Sorry. Nicholas as an imaginative person. So this is a very evident thing, right? We see Nicholas as an imaginative person in this story. So he has this imaginative power to invent things, right? He is very inventive, right? He has some fluent speech, and quick thinking power to invent things. So we see this throughout the story. So at the very beginning, we see inventing the incident of the frog in his wholesome bread and milk. Though mischievous, he found a humorous way to prove that the elders to be profound in error in matters about which they had expressed the utmost assurance. Right, because of his imaginative and inventive power, he could be able to prove that elders are wrong. So because of that, he has put a frog into his food. So one can argue that's a mischievous and stubborn act. But I think it's a very humorous move. Right? In movies also we see this kind of behavior from children. Okay, let's move to the next point. This is the most important place where that is imaginative power is present. So when he is in the lumber room, he's vividly imagining of the story of the hunter and the stag. So by looking at the painting on the tapestry, his mind creates a living, breathing story out of that. You know that imaginative power is something very rare. Right? Not everyone has this imaginative power. So usually creative and imaginative people can carve out of a story out of something simple. So by looking at that tapestry and the painting, he creates a living, breathing story out of that. So that is his power of imagination. So if we consider Nicholas as a child, representing a child, so normally it is evident that children are very imaginative. Right? When they are poisoned by the society, this imaginative power step by step decreases. That is another thing. But here, as a representative character, Saki says these children are very imaginative. So the elders can't imagine that. So the next point, so his admiration about the twisted candlestick in the shape of snakes and the tapered like china duck. So these are evident proof of his power of imagination. So he can identify these beautiful things, right? Those are something very important things you can note down. Okay, well done. We are going to the next slide. So here we are going to discuss Nicholas as a thoughtful person. It at the beginning and then in the middle, at the end also, we can see Nicholas. Nicholas is a very brainy fellow. That is wise and intelligent. Right here, this is a very good place to show that Nicholas is a thoughtful person. Nicholas is planning to enter the lumber room, and how he executed that plan is a picture perfect example of his brain power. So first he is arguing with the aunt about his punishment. Why did you give me punishment? Why can't I enter the gooseberry garden? Now aunt knows he's going to do something. He's up to something. So second, he creates suspicion in the aunt's mind that he tries to enter the gooseberry garden. How does he do that? He comes to the veranda and yes, he's hovering everywhere. And aunt see that, aunt thinks, this fellow is trying to enter the gooseberry garden. So after thoroughly fortifying her suspicion, he starts to execute his plan. So he has some preparation for this plan. So he had some pre-practicing to turn the key and in the school, and he executed that plan. He put the key into the keyhole and opened it. And here he entered his new world. So when he get the opportunity, yes, he execute that plan. That shows he's a skillful tactician, right? Okay. It's another thing. He's throwing with Ant's word, right? He is using Ant's word when Ant is stuck in the rainwater tank. He uses the word of Ant to punish him. So you can see his fluency and quick thinking to use the words of Ant to punish her. So, and he uses this nature of stubborn child to be safe from all possible punishment on that. So now he uses the aunt, he calls the aunt as an evil one, right? So he does not speak to the aunt. So aunt can't give the punishment because he's speaking to the evil one. So that shows he's very smart person.